Chaim Soutine was a Russian painter of Belarusian Jewish origin. Soutine made a major contribution to the expressionist movement while living in Paris. Inspired by classic painting in the European tradition, exemplified by the works of Rembrandt, Chardin and Courbet, Soutine developed an individual style more concerned with shape, color, and texture over representation, which served as a bridge between more traditional approaches and the developing form of abstract expressionism. Biography. Soutine was born Chaïm Soutine, in Smiloviki near Minsk, Belarus. He was the 10th of 11 children. From 1910 to 1913 he studied in Vilnius at the Vilna Academy of Fine Arts. In 1913, with his friends Pinchas Grimen and Michel Kaikwan, he emigrated to Paris, where he studied at the École des Beaux-Arts under Fernand Corman. He soon developed a highly personal vision and painting technique. For a time, he and his friends lived at La Ruche, a residence for struggling artists in Montparnasse where he became friends with Amedeo Modigliani. Modigliani painted Soutine's portrait several times, most famously in 1917, on a door of an apartment belonging to La copywriter Paul Zborowski, who was their art dealer. Zborowski supported Soutine through World War I, taking the struggling artist with him to Nice to escape the German invasion of Paris. After the war, Paul Guillaume, a highly influential art dealer, began to champion Soutine's work. In 1923, in a showing arranged by Guillaume, the prominent American collector Albert C. Barnes bought 60 of Soutine's paintings on the spot. Soutine, who had been virtually penniless in his years in Paris, immediately took the money, ran into the street, hailed a Paris taxi, and ordered the driver to take him to Nice, on the French Riviera, more than 400 miles away. Soutine once horrified his neighbors by keeping an animal carcass in his studio so that he could paint it. The stench drove them to send for the police, whom Soutine promptly lectured on the relative importance of art over hygiene. There's a story that Marc Chagall saw the blood from the carcass leak out onto the corridor outside Soutine's room, and rushed out screaming, "Someone has killed Soutine." Soutine painted 10 works in the series, which have since become his most well-known. His carcass paintings were inspired by Rembrandt's still life of the same subject, which he discovered while studying the old masters in the Louvre. Soutine produced the majority of his works from 1920 to 1929. From 1930 to 1935, the interior designer Madeleine Castaing and her husband welcomed him to their summer home, the mansion of Lavez, becoming his patrons, so that Soutine could hold his first exhibition in Chicago in 1935. He seldom showed his works, but he did take part in the important exhibition The Origins and Development of International Independent Art held at the Galerie Nationale du Jeu de Paume in 1937 in Paris, where he was at last hailed as a great painter. Soon afterwards France was invaded by German troops. As a Jew, Soutine had to escape from the French capital and hide in order to avoid arrest by the Gestapo. He moved from one place to another and was sometimes forced to seek shelter in forests, sleeping outdoors. Suffering from a stomach ulcer and bleeding badly, he left a safe hiding place for Paris in order to undergo emergency surgery, which failed to save his life. On August 9, 1943, Chaïm Soutine died of a perforated ulcer. He was interred in Saint-Michel rue du Montparnasse, Paris. Legacy. In February 2006, an oil painting of his controversial and iconic series Le Beau Fecauche sold for a record £7.8 million to an anonymous buyer at a Christie's auction held in London, after it was estimated to fetch £4.8 million. In February 2007, a 1921 portrait of an unidentified man with a red scarf by Chaïm Soutine sold for $17.2 million, a new record, at Sotheby's London auction house. In May 2015, Le Beau, circa 1923. Oil on canvas. 31 7/8 x 23 5/8 inches achieved a record price for the artist of $28,165,000 at the Christie's curated auction. Looking forward to the past. Some years after Soutine's death, Roald Dahl placed him as a character in his short story Skin. Gallery. Paintings by Soutine. with gallery listings, piece of beef/piece de boeuf, Surrey landscape, Levs, seated woman, Cleveland Museum of Art, Cleveland, Ohio, Street of Cannes-sur-Mer, carcass of beef, Albright Knox Art Gallery, Buffalo, New York, Sinister Street, Kunstmuseum, Lucerne, Switzerland, The Cook, Botero Museum, Bogota, Colombia, 1, Winding Road, Large Poplars at Sivary or After the Storm, Philadelphia Museum of Art, Portrait of Mosaic Isling, Los Angeles County Museum of Art, The Russian, Portrait of Woman, Yale University Art Gallery, Landscape and House, Musée Copyright E. Calvet, Avignon, Paysage du Midi, Museum of Modern Art. New York, Le Vieux Moulin sur Vence, Dead Bird, Chartres Cathedral, Museum of Grenoble, France, Bayeux for Copyright Cordia Copyright, Cleveland Museum of Art, Still Life with Rayfish, Musée Copyright d'Art Moderne de la Ville de Paris, Femme la Robe Bleue, Tours de Femmes au Fond Bleu, Les Chasseurs de Chez Maxims, Les Porcs, National Gallery of Art, Washington, The Groom, Metropolitan Museum of Art, Portrait of Madeleine Cast-Eyeing, Art Institute of Chicago, Dead Fowl, Landscape at Cannes, Worcester Art Museum, Portrait of a Boy, Musée Copyright E de l'Orangerie, Paris, Glorieuls, Les Maisons, Paysage, La Fianca Copyright E, Arbre Coucher Copyright Portrait Dome, La Village, La Petite Parcenticia, Barufet Artie de Vea, La Poulette Plume Copyright La Lapine, La Dindon, Dindon Atomates, La Table, Nature Morty or Phazon, La June Anglaise, Enfant de Coeur, La Gara Section on Da Copyright Tage, Gara Section on d'Honneur, Paysage avec Personnage, Les Gros Arbres Bleus, La Maison Blanche, Pinacatha Quai de Paris. La Gara Section on Da Copyright Tage, Barnes Foundation, Philadelphia, Bouquet de Fleurs et Euro Paysage avec Figure Euro Paysage avec Maisons et Euro Poissons, Poivres et Oignons Nature Morty aux Fleurs et Euro Pharmaceutica Copyright et au Futur la Euro La Parcenticia Euro La Femme en Bleu Euro La Petite Fille en Rouge Euro La Euro Unregistered Trademark à Pamel Gleis Rouge Euro La Route Montanti, Vos Gras Copyright Olières et Euro Paysage du Midi Euro Paysage du Gordon et Euro Paysage avec Maison Blanche Euro Paysage avec Maison et Arbre Euro La Lapine Corcha Copyright Euro La Euro Unregistered Trademark Whom en Priory Euro La Euro Unregistered Trademark Whom en Bleu Euro Group DAO Euro Unregistered Trademark Arbres Euro Le Chapeau Blanc. Footnotes. References, Clublart, Norman L. Kenneth E. Silver. An Expressionist in Paris, The Paintings of Chaim Soutine. New York City, Prestel. ISBN 3-7913-1932-9. Mullin, Rick. Soutine, A Poem. Loveland, Ohio, Dos Maders Press. ISBN 978-1-933675-68-8. Tushman, Morris. Estudio Chaim Soutine, Catalogue Raisonna Copyright. Car Paragraph LN, Benedict Aschen Verlag. Soutine, The Power and the Fury of an Eccentric Genius by Stanley Meisler, 2. External links, Hecht Museum, Amedeo Modigliani, Chaim Soutine, New Record Price for Soutine Painting.